Please, I'm still breathing. Dubem, please. The dot kept falling. Heavier now. Faster. Cover it, quickly. That was her husband's voice. Cold, empty, like she meant nothing. I'm carrying your child. Dubem, Dubem. Then another voice, his mother, dripping with satisfaction. Should have known your place, girl. They buried her alive, left her in the ground with their lies and her unborn baby. But 5 years later, she came back, richer, colder, unrecognizable. And she didn't want justice. She wanted to watch them destroy themselves. This is the story of a woman who died in that grave and the monster who crawled out. Before we dive into this dark tale of betrayal and revenge, I need to know, if you were buried alive by the people who were supposed to love you and you survived, would you seek revenge or would you walk away and start fresh? Drop your answer in the comments below. And while you're at it, let me know where you're watching from. Drop your country or city in the comments. I love seeing how far these stories reach. And if you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications because the stories on this channel will leave you speechless. Her name was Kosisochukwu, Kosi, and everyone said she was the luckiest woman alive. Dubem was everything. Handsome, wealthy, eldest son of the most respected family in the village. She was just a farmer's daughter, poor, nobody special. The wedding day was perfect. Drums, dancers, endless food. Kosi wore her mother's coral beads and couldn't stop smiling. When she knelt before Dubem's family to receive their blessing, his mother, Nena, placed a hand on her head. Welcome to our family, my daughter. But Nena's fingers pressed too hard. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Kosi felt it. Something cold, something wrong. But she pushed it away. This was her wedding day. She was happy, or so she thought. The first months were perfect. Dubem was gentle, patient. You're not just my wife, he said one morning, kissing her forehead. You're going to be the mother of my children, the heart of this home. Kosi bloomed. She woke before dawn to cook, swept the compound until it shined, greeted neighbors with respect. Within weeks, everyone loved her. Everyone except Nena. One evening, Kosi prepared jollof rice. Nena tasted it and wrinkled her nose. Too much salt. The next day, after Kosi swept, a proper wife doesn't leave dust in corners. When Kosi laughed with Dubem, a woman should know when to be quiet. Small cuts, little cruelties, but they added up. The real problem? Dubem had started asking Kosi for advice instead of his mother. Kosi, what do you think about planting more yams this season? Kosi, should we trade with the eastern village? Nena watched and felt her power slipping away like sand through fingers. She'd spent 30 years controlling that household. She wasn't about to let some village girl take it. So Nena waited and planned. 3 months into the marriage, Kosi missed her bleeding. She waited another week, afraid to hope. Then another. Finally trembling, she told Dubem. His face exploded into the widest smile. He picked her up, spinning her around. I'm going to be a father. Kosi, you've made me the happiest man alive. The whole village celebrated. Women brought gifts, palm oil, dried fish, clay pots for the baby. The men slaughtered a goat and drank palm wine late into the night. But in the back of the compound, Nena stood alone, watching. Her jaw clenched so tight her teeth ached. This girl, this nobody, was carrying the heir. With that child, Kosi's position would be unshakable. Dubem would protect her forever. Nena would be pushed aside, forgotten, irrelevant. No, she whispered, this cannot happen. That night, Nena visited someone in the next village, an old diviner who lived at the edge of the forest. He knew through his cowrie shells and bones, studied them in the firelight, then looked up with dark eyes. You already know what you came to hear. The prophecy told you years ago. A woman from outside will bring ruin to your house. And now she's here, isn't she? Living in your home, carrying the future in her belly. Nena leaned forward. What do I do? The diviner smiled, showing missing teeth. You remove the threat before it grows teeth. Nena left that hut with a plan forming, dark and terrible. 3 weeks later, the misfortunes began. It started with the goat. Duben's father had left him a prize breeding goat, massive, worth more than 6 months of harvest, his pride and joy. One morning, Kosi found it dead in the pen, bloated, foam around its mouth, eyes wide and terrified. She screamed. Dubem came running, saw the animal and fell to his knees. What happened? What happened to him? I don't know. I fed him yesterday evening. He was fine, I swear. Nena appeared in the doorway, her face grave. The animal was healthy yesterday. Nothing was wrong. Her eyes slid to Kosi. Until she fed it. Kosi's stomach dropped. I gave it the same feed as always. I didn't. Strange, Nena interrupted, voice soft and dangerous. Strange that the goat thrived for 5 years under our care, and within 3 months of her arrival, it's dead. Dubim looked between his wife and his mother, confusion and grief on his face. Mama, don't. Kosi wouldn't. I'm not accusing anyone. Nena raised her hands innocently. I'm just noticing, that's all. But the seed was planted. That evening at the stream, Kosi heard the whispers. Isn't it strange? The goat was perfectly healthy. She's from outside the village, you know. Her grandmother was rumored to have the sight. No smoke without fire. 2 weeks. Later, Dubem collapsed during dinner. His body shook violently. Fever so hot the bedclothes soaked through with sweat. His eyes rolled back and he mumbled things that made no sense, calling out names of people long dead. Kosi stayed by his side day and night, pressing cool cloths to his forehead, forcing water between his lips, praying to every ancestor she could name. The village healer came, burned herbs, made bitter teas. Will he live? Kosi asked, voice breaking. The healer wouldn't meet her eyes. If the fever breaks by tomorrow night, maybe. Nena sat on the other side of Dubem's mat, whispering prayers just loud enough for others to hear. Protect my son from evil, shield him from dark forces that walk in daylight. Never directly accusing, just planting, watering that seed of doubt. 3 weeks later, Dubem recovered, weak but alive. The neighbors gathered outside. Did you hear? He almost died. First the goat, now Dubem. She's been here. What? 4 months? My cousin said she saw her collecting strange plants in the forest. I heard her muttering to herself at night. She's praying. Kosi wanted to scream, but she kept quiet. Told herself it would pass. Dubem was getting better. Things would return to normal. She was 4 months pregnant now, her belly just starting to show. She focused on that, on the life growing inside her, on building her family. She didn't see the trap closing around her. It happened on a Tuesday evening. Kosi had been tired all day. Nena noticed and smiled warmly. The first genuine kindness in weeks. Let me make you a special tea, daughter, for strength. My mother gave it to me when I carried Dubem. You need your energy. Kosi was touched. Thank you, Mama. The tea tasted bitter, herbal, but not unpleasant. She drank every drop. Within an hour, the cramping started, sharp, violent, like something was tearing inside her. Kosi collapsed in the courtyard, clutching her belly. Dubem! Dubem! Blood, so much blood, spreading across her wrapper, pulling beneath her. Women came running. They carried her inside, tried to help, but there was nothing to be done. By midnight, it was over. The baby was gone. Kosi lay on the mat, hollow-eyed, staring at nothing. She didn't cry, didn't speak. The grief was too big for tears. Dubem sat beside her, holding her hand, his face carved from stone. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry, Kosi. Outside, Nena gathered the women in low, urgent tones. I didn't want to say anything before, but I saw her last week in the forest, collecting strange roots, talking to herself. The women gasped. I thought maybe she was just, you know, pregnancy makes women do odd things. But now this, the goat, my son's illness, our own child lost. She pressed her hand to her chest, eyes wet with false tears. I think, I think she's been practicing dark things, and now it's turning on her. The women looked at each other, nodded slowly. We need to tell the elders, one of them said, before she brings down a curse on the whole village. They came for her 3 days later. Kosi was still weak, still bleeding, still empty. She sat by the cooking fire, staring into the flames, when she heard voices, men's voices, loud, angry. Dubem went out to meet them. What's going on? Mazi Okoro, the eldest, stepped forward. His face was grave. We need to speak with your wife. She's not well. She just lost. We know what she lost. We also know what she's been doing. They dragged Kosi out into the compound. She could barely stand. Dubem supported her, his arm around her waist. Nena stood with the other women, face a mask of concern, but her eyes glittered with triumph. Mazi Okoro addressed the crowd that had gathered. Kosisochukwu, wife of Dubem, you are accused of practicing witchcraft, of bringing misfortune to this family and endangering this village. Kosi's knees buckled. What? No, Witnesses have seen you collecting strange plants in the forbidden forest. I was looking for herbs for cooking. You were heard chanting in the night. I was praying. I was praying for my baby. The goat died under your care. Your husband fell mysteriously ill. Your own child was lost. Mazi Okoro's voice was hard. The signs are clear. You have been touched by darkness. Kosi turned to Dubem, desperate. You know me. You know I would never. But Dubem's face was conflicted, torn. He looked at his mother, at the elders, at the crowd, and in that moment, Kosi saw it. The doubt, small but there, growing. Dubem, please, she whispered. You know me. His jaw tightened. He looked away, and Kosi's heart shattered worse than when she lost the baby. They held the trial immediately. No time to prepare, to gather witnesses, to defend herself. Nena presented evidence. A small pouch of herbs found in Kosi's belongings, dried roots and strange leaves. I found this hidden in a mat, Nena said, gasping as if shocked. Those are cooking herbs, Kosi sobbed. Just cooking herbs. But who listens to the accused when fear has taken root? Women testified they'd heard Kosi muttering to herself. She was praying, Kosi begged. I was just praying. She cursed my chickens, one woman said. 3 of them died the day after she walked past my compound. They died of disease, Kosi shouted. Half the village lost chickens that week. But the lies kept coming, piling up like stones. The elders deliberated. It didn't take long. Mazi Okoro stood, his face grim. The evidence is clear. To protect this village and this family, Kosisochukwu must undergo a cleansing ritual to drive out the darkness that has attached itself to her. Dubem's voice shook. What kind of ritual? Mazi. Okoro didn't answer directly. It will be handled by the elders. The women will prepare her. Kosi felt ice flood her veins. No, no, please. But strong hands were already gripping her arms, dragging her away, and Dubem just stood there, watching, his mother's hand on his shoulder. You're doing the right thing, my son, Nena whispered. Trust me. They took her to Nena's hut, 4 women holding her arms, forcing her down onto a mat. Drink this. one of them said, holding a cup to her lips. For the cleansing, it will help prepare your spirit. Kosi's hand shook as she tried to push it away. Please, I'm innocent. Please, just listen. Nena appeared in the doorway, holding a clay pot. The elders have spoken, child. This is for your own good, for the village's protection. She knelt beside Kosi, her face close, too close. For just a moment, the mask slipped. Kosi saw it, the hatred, pure and cold and absolute. Please, Kosi whispered. Why are you doing this? What did I do to you? Nena leaned even closer, her breath hot against Kosi's ear. Only she could hear. Because my son is mine, this family is mine, and you are always just a pest to be removed. Kosi tried to scream, but hands clamped over her mouth. The cup was forced between her lips. The liquid poured down her throat, bitter and burning. Within minutes, her vision blurred. Her limbs went heavy, numb. She tried to speak, but her tongue wouldn't work. The room spun, voices echoed and faded. She saw Dubem's face in the doorway, distant, conflicted, tears in his eyes, but doing nothing. She tried to reach for him, tried to say his name, but darkness was pulling her down, down, down. The last thing she thought, I'm going to die, and no one will save me. She came to in fragments, the smell of earth, damp and old and wrong, the feeling of being moved, carried. Her body wouldn't respond, paralyzed, but her mind screamed. She felt them lower her into something, felt the cold press of ground against her back, voices above her, muffled, like she was underwater. Quickly now, before dawn. That was Nena's voice. Are you sure about this, Mama? That was Dubem, her husband. It's the only way to break the curse, my son. The elders have decided. But if she's innocent, then the ancestors will protect her. A lie. Such an obvious, terrible lie. Kosi tried to move, tried to scream. Nothing. Her body was a prison. And then dirt. The first shovelful hit her chest and she felt it. Heavy, suffocating. Another, covering her legs, her stomach, where her baby had been. More dirt, rising up her body like a tide. She could see, through fluttering eyelids, the night sky above. Stars, so many stars. And then Dubem's face, looking down at her, his eyes wet with tears. But he didn't stop them, didn't reach down, just watched. Please! The word barely formed in her throat, more whisper than sound. I'm still breathing. Dubem, please. His face crumpled, but then his mother's hand was on his shoulder, turning him away. Cover it, Nena said, quickly. And Dubem's voice, hollow and obedient. Cover it, quickly. More dirt, faster now, over her chest, her neck. Kosi's mind screamed, but her body couldn't move. One more sound, one last desperate cry. I'm carrying your child. Dubem, Dubem. But the baby was already gone. They both knew it, and still, he let them bury her. Nena's face appeared above the grave, silhouetted against the stars. She smiled, actually smiled, and leaned down close enough that only Kosi could hear. Should have known your place, girl. Then dirt covered Kosi's face, filled her nose, a mouth, darkness, complete and total, the weight of the earth pressing down. No air, no light, no hope, just the knowledge that she was dying alone in the ground, murdered by the family who promised to love her. And the rage that filled her in that moment was so pure, so absolute, that it kept her alive. Barely, but alive. Okonkwo was collecting night-blooming mushrooms when he heard it. Scratching, like something digging, coming from the forbidden section of the forest. He followed the sound and found freshly turned earth, still moving. Something underneath was alive. He dug with his bare hands, fast, frantic, pulled away dirt and rocks until he saw it. Fingers, a hand, a woman's hand clawing upward. He yanked her out of the ground, laid her flat, and pressed on her chest once, twice, 3 times. She convulsed, vomited dirt and bile and blood, gasped a rattling, horrible breath. Her eyes flew open, wild and unseeing. She tried to scream, but no sound came out, just more dirt and more blood. "You're safe," Okonko said, though he wasn't sure it was true. "You're alive. Stay with me." He lifted. Eh? She weighed almost nothing and carried her through the forest to his compound, miles away, hidden deep where nobody came looking. He walked through the night, cleaning the dirt from her lungs, treating the cuts and bruises, forcing water and medicine between her lips. She drifted in and out of consciousness, mumbling incoherent words. "Dubem, baby, please." For 3 days she burned with fever. Okonkwo thought she would die a dozen times, but she didn't. She was strong, stronger than she looked. On the 4th day, her eyes opened clearly. She stared at the ceiling, then at the old man sitting beside her. "Where am I?" Her voice was raw, damaged. "My compound. Deep forest. You're safe here." She tried to sit up, couldn't. Everything hurt. Who are you?" "My name is Okonkwo. I found you in the ground." He paused. "Who buried you?" And then it all came back. The accusation, the trial, the drugging, the grave. Duben's face above her. Nena's smile. The weight of the earth. Kosi's face crumpled. She touched her stomach, felt the flatness where her baby had been, and the sound that came out of her wasn't human. She screamed until her throat bled, screamed until she had no voice left, and then she wept for hours, days. Okonkwo said nothing, just sat with her, let her shatter. Finally, when the tears stopped, Kosi looked at him with eyes that were hollow and ancient. "Why did you save me?" Okonkwo studied her for a long moment. "Because I was you once, accused of something I didn't do, exiled, left to die. But I survived, and I learned something important." "What?" "That the world doesn't reward goodness. It rewards power." He leaned forward. "You have 2 choices, girl. You can fade away and let them win, or you can become fire, become the thing they feared you were, and burn them all down." Kosi stared at him, at the stranger who'd saved her life, and something in his words resonated in the hollow place where her heart used to be. "Teach me," she whispered. Okonkwo smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. "It will hurt." "Good," Kosi said. "I want it to hurt." The first month was survival, learning to walk again, to eat, to speak without her voice cracking. Okonkwo's compound was simple, a hut, a garden full of strange plants, shelves lined with bottles and pouches, and dried things Kosi didn't recognize. "Why do you live alone?" Kosi asked one evening. "They said I poisoned the chief's son," Okonkwo told her. "I didn't. But someone paid good money for the accusation. Proof doesn't matter when people want to believe." "Did the boy die?" "No. He recovered 2 days after I left." Okonkwo's smile was bitter. "But by then I was already gone. They never apologized, never invited me back. So I stayed here, learned, grew stronger." He looked at her. "And I waited. For what? For someone like you. Someone who understands that justice and revenge are the same thing, dressed in different cloth." Kosi absorbed his words like water. She was so thirsty for purpose. "Teach me everything," she said, and he did. Traditional medicine first, which plants healed and which plants killed, how to disguise one as the other. "This leaf," Okonkwo said, holding up something green and innocent looking, "can cure a fever in 3 days. But if you dry it in moonlight and grind it fine, it causes fevers that look natural, symptoms that mimic malaria, No one suspects. And this one, Kosi asked, pointing to a root. Slow poison. One drop in food every day for a month. By the end, they are paranoid, shaking, seeing things. Everyone thinks they've gone mad. Kosi's eyes gleamed. The exact symptoms they accused me of causing. Exactly. She learned about wealth too, how to trade, how to negotiate, how markets worked. Knowledge is power, Okonkwo said, but the right. Knowledge, applied correctly, is a weapon sharper than any blade. She learned quickly, desperately. Every plant she memorized, every tincture she perfected was one more tool in the arsenal she was building. One more step toward the future where they paid, all of them. 3 months into her recovery, the cramps came, worse than before, violent. Kosi screamed for Okonkwo. He examined her and his face went grim. You need to push. Kosi's blood went cold. What? No, the baby's gone. The baby didn't die in the grave. Your body held on, but it can't anymore. Horror and hope warred in her chest. Is it alive? Can you push? Okonkwo commanded. She did. For hours, screaming, bleeding, dying a little more with each contraction. And then a sound, a tiny weak cry, a girl so small she fit in Okonkwo's palms, barely moving, barely breathing. Kosi reached for her, sobbing. My baby survived. Give her to me. But Okonkwo's face was grave. The baby's lips were blue. Her chest struggled for air. She's too early, too weak. I don't know if... Save her, Kosi begged. Please, please. She's all I have left. Okonkwo worked for hours, days, keeping the tiny child warm, forcing medicine into her mouth drop by drop. Kosi couldn't hold her. She was too weak herself. Could only watch from across the room as this man fought to save the only piece of her heart that still existed. And miraculously, impossibly, the baby lived, grew stronger, started feeding, started crying with actual strength behind it. Okonkwo named her Adaura, gift from the people. Kosi held her daughter for the first time and felt something crack open in her chest. Love, pure and fierce and terrifying, but also fear, because she knew what she was planning, knew what she was becoming, and she couldn't let her daughter see it. One night, 6 months after her daughter's birth, Kosi made the hardest decision of her life. She kissed her sleeping daughter's forehead and whispered, I'm doing this for you, so you never have to suffer like I did. So the world never buries you alive and tells you you deserved it. Then she looked at Okonkwo. Keep her safe. Raise her. Don't tell her about me. Not until she's old enough to understand. Okonkwo nodded slowly. And you? I have work to do. Pause for a second. Kosi has spent 5 years transforming herself into someone powerful, someone unrecognizable. She's about to walk back into the village that tried to kill her. But here's my question for you. Do you think revenge will give her peace? Or will it destroy what's left of her soul? Comment your thoughts below. Some of you will say she deserves a revenge. Others will say she should let it go. Let's see where you stand. With her daughter safe, Kosi threw herself into her education with single-minded intensity. Okonkwo taught her everything. Not just medicine, but strategy, psychology, how to read people, how to manipulate them. Everyone has a weakness, he said one evening. Fear, greed, pride, lust, love. Find the weakness, exploit it, and you can make anyone dance like a puppet. He took her to distant markets where nobody knew her. Sell this cloth for double what it's worth. Kosi tried, failed. The merchant laughed at her. Again, Okonkwo said. She tried again, and again, and again. Eventually, she learned how to smile when she felt nothing, how to lie with a straight face, how to find people's pressure points and squeeze. She grew wealthy, Started small, trading herbs and fabrics, then bigger, buying and selling land, investing in harvests, lending money at interest. Within 2 years, she had more wealth than Dubem's entire family. Within 3 years, she was known in 5 regions as a shrewd, ruthless businesswoman who never lost a deal. She changed everything about herself: her hair, her clothes, her voice. She practiced a different accent until it became natural. One evening, she stood before a polished metal mirror. "My name is Zara," she said, testing the new accent, confident, regal. "I am a merchant from the Eastern Kingdoms." Okonkwo watched from the doorway. "I barely recognize you." "Good," she said. "That's the point." The old Kosi had been soft, gentle, afraid. This new version, Zara, was hard as stone, cold as iron, and absolutely, utterly focused on one goal. 5 years after she was buried, Zara sat with Okonkwo in his compound, planning. A map spread between them, her old village marked clearly. "I'm ready," she said. Okonkwo studied her. She'd changed so much he barely recognized the frightened girl he'd pulled from the ground. "Remember," he said, "quick revenge is satisfying for a moment. Slow revenge is satisfying forever." Zara smiled. Oktui didn't reach her eyes anymore, hadn't in years. "I don't want them to die quickly. I want them to suffer. I want them to lose everything slowly, piece by piece, until they're hollow, until they know exactly how I felt in that grave. And then I want them to know it was me. I want to see their faces when they realize the woman they buried came back and destroyed them." Okonkwo nodded slowly. "You've become exactly what they accused you of being." Zara's smile widened. "Good. Let them choke on their prophecy." She stood, gathered her things. "I'll send money for Adaora's care. Tell her mother loves her, that everything I'm doing is so she'll never be powerless like I was." "And if you lose yourself completely in this revenge?" Okonkwo asked quietly. "What then?" Zara paused at the doorway, looked back at him. "Then at least I'll have taken them with me." And she left, walking into the forest toward the EU village that killed her. She was wealthy, she was powerful, she was unrecognizable, and she was coming home. The caravan arrived at midday, 6 wagons loaded with goods, fine cloths, exotic spices, tools, medicine, enough wealth to make even the richest merchant jealous. Leading it was a woman the village had never seen before. Tall, regal, dressed in expensive wrappers with gold threading. Coral beads worth more than most families earned in a year. She rode on horseback and carried herself like royalty. When she dismounted in the village square, people stopped and stared. "Good people," she said, her voice clear and commanding. "My name is Zara. I am a merchant from the Eastern Kingdoms. I've heard wonderful things about your village. The fertile land, the honest people, the strong community. I'm looking to invest, to build trade relationships, to bring prosperity to those who deserve it." The village elders scrambled forward, tripping over themselves to greet her. Mazi Okoro, older now but still pompous, bowed deeply. "Welcome, welcome. We are honored by your presence. Please, let us show you hospitality." Zara smiled graciously. Behind that smile, she was cataloging everything. The village looked the same. The compound where she'd lived, where she died, stood in the distance. She could see it from here. Her hands tightened on the reins, but her face remained serene. "I'm looking for a compound to rent, somewhere prominent, where I can conduct business and host guests." "I know just the place," one of the elders said eagerly. "What about that one?" Zara pointed. "At Dubem's family compound." The elder hesitated. "Ah, that's the home of Dubem and his family. They are not renting. I'm willing to pay very well." Zara said smoothly. For the right location. The elders exchanged glances. Money talked. They knew Dubem's family had been struggling lately. Bad harvest, poor trades, like their luck had soured. We can inquire, Mazi Okoro said carefully. And that's how Zara bought her way into her own former home. Dubem's family, desperate for money, agreed to rent out the guest compound on their property. Perfect. She would live among them, watch them, study them, and they wouldn't recognize her. The formal introduction happened 3 days later. Nena herself came to welcome the wealthy guest, flanked by her sons. She was older now, grayer, but still proud, still sharp-eyed, still the matriarch who ruled her family with an iron fist. Welcome to our home, Lady Zara, Nena said, bowing slightly. We hope your stay will be comfortable. Zara studied the woman who'd orchestrated her death, felt the rage simmer in her belly, but her face showed only polite interest. Thank you for your hospitality. You have a lovely home. These are my sons, Nena continued. Dubem, my eldest, Ikena and Chinedu. Dubem stepped forward, and Zara's breath caught. He looked terrible, aged beyond his years, haunted, dark circles under his eyes, a defeated slump to his shoulders. This wasn't the confident man she'd married. This was a shell. Good, she thought viciously, but out loud. A pleasure to meet you all. My daughter-in-law, Adais, Nena added dismissively, gesturing to a thin, timid woman standing slightly behind Dubem. Zara studied her. Young, pretty once maybe, but now worn down, bruises on her arms, poorly hidden, eyes downcast, fearful. Or, Zara realized, they're doing it again. They're destroying this one too. She filed that information away. Welcome, Adais whispered, so quiet Zara barely heard her. I'm looking forward to getting to know you all, Zara said graciously, and learning more about this wonderful village. Perhaps you could tell me its history. I love a good story. Nena's eyes gleamed. She loved talking about herself. Of course. Come, let me show you around. My family has been prominent here for 3 generations. My late husband was a great man, respected, wise, and I've worked hard to maintain that legacy. As Nena talked, gesturing and bragging, Zara nodded and smiled, and mentally marked every weak point, every crack, every secret she would later exploit. The hunt had begun. Over the following weeks, Zara became a fixture in the household. She hosted elaborate dinners, inviting the family and village elders. She bought goods from local farmers at generous prices. She donated to the village shrine, and most importantly, she cultivated a friendship with Nena. It wasn't hard. Nena loved attention, loved feeling important, and Zara was an excellent listener. One evening over palm wine, Zara leaned forward with genuine seeming interest. You're such a wise woman, Mama Nena. How did you build such influence in this family? I've been trying to gain respect in my own business dealings, but men always think they know. Better, Nena preened, taking a long sip of wine. A woman must be smart. Men think they rule, but we are the ones who actually hold power. You just have to know how to guide them. Guide them? Zara prompted innocently. Nena leaned close, slightly drunk. My late husband, for example. He thought every decision was his, but I planted the ideas, watered them, made him think they originated from him. She laughed. It's an art. Fascinating, Zara murmured, refilling Nena's cup. And your sons? Dubem especially, my eldest, is soft, always has been, needs a strong hand. Nena's face clouded briefly. He made a mistake once. Married a girl who was wrong, but I fixed it. Zara's pulse quickened. Fixed it? She was trouble. Outsider. Started causing problems. Animals dying. People getting sick, clearly cursed. Nena waved her hand dismissively. The elders handled it. Cleansing ritual. She's gone now. What happened to her? Zara asked, keeping her voice carefully neutral. Nena shrugged. Who knows? Who cares? The point is, my son is better off. His new wife is much more manageable. Zara smiled and refilled Nena's cup again. You're truly remarkable. Not many women have your strength. Nena beamed, soaking up the praise. She never noticed the coldness behind Zara's eyes, never realized she was confessing to her victim. That night, alone in her compound, Zara wrote everything in her journal. Every word, every admission, every piece of evidence she was slowly, carefully gathering. You are so proud of what you did, she whispered to the darkness. Soon everyone will know, and that pride will be your destruction. Dubin was harder to approach. He kept to himself mostly, drank too much, avoided his mother and his wife. Zara watched him for weeks before making her move. One evening, she accidentally encountered him at the village market. Dubem, she said warmly, I was hoping to run into you. He looked up, startled. Guilty somehow. Lady Zara, is something wrong? Not at all. I wanted your advice, actually. Your mother says you're the best trader in the family. I'm considering investing in palm oil, but I don't know the local market, so it was shameless flattery. But it worked. Dubem, starved for respect and purpose, latched onto the attention. They talked for an hour. Zara listened raptly, asked intelligent questions, treated him like someone important. When they parted, he was smiling, the first real smile she'd seen on his face. Good, she thought. Hook set. Over the following weeks, she created more chances to talk with him, asked his opinion on trades, invited him to review her business proposals, complimented his insight, slowly, carefully drew him in. Dubem began to transform. He stood straighter, drank less, started, taking pride in his appearance. Zara knew why. He was falling for her, or rather for the attention she represented, the validation. One night, after several drinks, Dubem made his move. They were alone in her compound, reviewing trade documents. He reached for her hand. Zara, he said, his voice rough, I know this is wrong. I'm married, but I can't stop thinking about you. Zara looked at him, at this man who'd watched her being buried, who'd done nothing, and she smiled. Oh, Dubem, I think about you too. She let him kiss her, once, deep and desperate. Let him believe for one perfect moment that he might have her. Then she pulled back. But you're married, she whispered. What kind of man betrays his wife? Dubem's face crumpled. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm not a good man. Tell me, Zara said softly, sitting beside him. Why do you say that? And then, drunk and desperate and yearning for absolution, Dubem told her everything about his first wife, the accusations, how he'd doubted her, how he'd watched them bury her. I loved her, he whispered, tears streaming. God help me. I loved Kosi. But my mother said, everyone said, and I was weak. I chose my family over her. I let them kill an innocent woman, my wife, the mother of my child. He looked at Zara with haunted eyes. I hear her sometimes, at night, screaming my name from underground. I deserve every misery I have, every sleepless night, every drink that won't drown the guilt. Zara stared at him. This broken man, this coward, and she felt nothing. No satisfaction, no pity, just cold, hollow certainty. That's quite a burden, she said gently. But Dubem, there's something you should know. What? She leaned close, her lips nearly touching his ear. I know exactly who you are, Dubem. I know what you did.
His face went white. What do you mean? Zara smiled and let her accent slip. Let her voice drop into the tone he'd know anywhere. You let them bury me. You watched them put me in the ground, and you did nothing. Recognition dawned slowly, horror following right behind. No, he whispered. No, it's not possible. You're dead. You saw them bury me alive, Zara. No, Kosi, said coldly. But I didn't die, Dubim. I crawled out, and I've spent 5 years becoming strong enough to come back and destroy you. Dubim stumbled backward, knocking over furniture. Kosi, Kosi, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Too late, she said, and walked away, leaving him collapsed on the floor, sobbing her name, just like she'd sobbed his while dirt covered her face. With Dubem broken, Zara turned her full attention to Nena. This would require more finesse, more patience, but also more cruelty. Zara began visiting Nena daily, bringing gifts, special teas. For your health, she said sweetly, you work
so hard taking care of everyone. Let me take care of you. Nena, flattered by the attention, drank every cup gratefully. The poison was slow, subtle, a mixture Okonkwo had taught her that mimicked natural illness. Within weeks, Nena began experiencing symptoms, tremors in her hands, paranoia, seeing things that weren't there, insomnia, confusion, the exact same symptoms she'd once attributed to Kosi's witchcraft. The irony was exquisite. One afternoon, Nena was speaking with a neighbor when she suddenly stopped mid-sentence. What was I saying? I can't remember. At night, she'd wake up screaming, There's someone in the corner. Don't you see her? There's no one there, Mama, Ikenna would say. She's right there. The girl. The dead girl. Her hands shook so badly she couldn't eat without spilling. The village began to whisper. Have you seen Nena? She's not well. Strange symptoms. Remember when this happened before? To that girl she accused, the one who died. Maybe it wasn't the girl after all. The whispers grew louder. Nena heard them and panicked. It's a curse, she insisted to anyone who'd listen. Someone is doing this to me. But who would believe her? She'd played this game before. Zara visited her often, sat beside her bed, held her shaking hands. Poor woman, she murmured, loud enough for others to hear. It's so sad when the mind goes. I'm not crazy, Nena shrieked. Someone is poisoning me. It's her, the dead girl. She's come back. The family exchanged worried glances. Dubem, already shattered, just stared at his mother with hollow eyes. He knew. He knew exactly what was happening, but he said nothing. There, Zara soothed. Rest now. Let the medicine help. And she gave Nena another cup of poison tea. While Nena deteriorated, Zara worked on destroying the rest of the family. She'd learned secrets over the months. Dubem's brothers were jealous of their elder brother's status, resentful of his inheritance. Zara exploited that. She accidentally let slip to Ikenna that Dubem had been embezzling from the family business, showed him falsified documents. I thought you should know, she said, wide-eyed and innocent. As a friend, Ikenna was furious, confronted Dubem publicly. You've been stealing from us, from your own family. What? No, I haven't. I have proof. Ikenna shoved the documents in his face. They fought viciously. Brothers turned enemies overnight. Zara did the same with Chinidu, planted evidence of an affair between him and Ikenna's wife. The family fractured, brother against brother, wife against husband, and in the middle of it all, Nena, losing her mind, screaming about curses and dead girls. But Zara wasn't done. She'd been quietly buying up the family's debts through intermediaries, every loan they'd taken, every bit of credit, and now she called them in all at once. Dubem received the notice and his face went grey. "We can't pay this. We don't have this kind of money." "Then you'll have to sell," the debt collector said, starting with the land. Everything Dubem's father had built, everything Nena had schemed to protect, all of it, sold to cover debts. And who bought it? Lady Zara. She bought their farms, their trading posts, their property, everything, until the family who'd once been prominent was left with almost nothing. During all this, Zara noticed something about Adai's. She was getting sicker, thinner, weaker. At first, Zara assumed it was stress. But then she saw Nena, even in a deteriorated state, preparing special meals for Adai's, insisting she eat. And Zara realized, oh God, she's doing it again. Nena was poisoning Adai's slowly, planning to get rid of this wife too. Zara watched it happen and felt conflicted. She'd come for revenge, pure, absolute revenge. Adai's was collateral damage, but Adai's was innocent, a victim, just like Kosi had been. And something in Zara, some small piece of the woman she used to be, couldn't stand by and watch another woman suffer. Late one night, Zara entered Adai's room. The younger woman was lying on her mat, barely conscious. Zara knelt beside her. "Adai's, listen to me. Your mother-in-law is poisoning you." Adai's eyes fluttered open. "What?" "The special meals she makes. They are killing you. You need to stop eating anything she prepares." Why are you telling me this?" Zara paused, looked at this broken woman, and saw herself 5 years ago. "Because someone should have saved me," Zara said quietly. "And they didn't." She pulled out an antidote. "Drink this every day. It will counteract the poison. And when you're strong enough, leave this house. Go far away. Don't look back." Daisy stared at her. "Who are you?" Zara smiled sadly. "Someone who knows what it's like to be buried alive." And she left, saved a life even while destroying so many others. It should have felt good. It didn't. It just felt hollow. One night, Zara was going through old family documents she'd confiscated during the debt collection, looking for more ammunition, more secrets. And she found something, a letter, hidden in Dubem's personal belongings, dated 5 years ago, 3 days after Kosi's burial. Her hand shook as she read it. "I went back to the grave today. I had to know." The earth was disturbed, like something had dug out from inside. There were drag marks leading into the forest. "I think she might be alive. I think Kosi might have survived." Zara stopped breathing. He knew. He knew. "I should tell someone. Search for her. But Mother says if she escaped, she'll only bring more trouble. She says the village is better off believing she's dead. And God help me, I think she's right. Adai's father is offering twice the bride price Kosi's family gave. We need the money. The family needs it. If Kosi is alive, if she comes back, everything falls apart. So I'll say nothing. I'll marry Adaize. I'll pretend my first wife is dead. Even if she's not. Even if she's out there somewhere, alone and suffering. I'm so sorry, Kosi. I'm so sorry. But I choose my family. I choose survival. I choose wrong. I know it. And I'll live with this guilt forever." Zara read the letter 3 times. Each time her rage grew colder, more absolute. He didn't just watch her die. He knew she survived and chose to let her stay dead. For money, for convenience, for his mother. "You bastard," she whispered. "You absolute bastard." She kept the letter, added it to a collection of evidence. This would be her final blow, not just exposing what he did, but exposing that he knew, that he chose it,
that every single day since, he could have searched for her, made amends, done something, and he didn't. 3 months later, Zara made her announcement. She was hosting a massive celebration. To thank the village for welcoming me, she said, and to make an important announcement about my future investments here. Everyone was invited. The whole village, all the elders, Dubem's family, what was left of them. Nobody would miss it. Preparations took weeks. Musicians, dancers, endless food and palm wine. She rented the village square, set up elaborate decorations. It looked like a festival. It felt like a funeral. The day arrived. Hundreds of people gathered. Dubin was there, looking like a ghost. Nena, barely functional, had to be supported by her remaining sons. Daisy stood in the back, healthier now. The village elders sat in positions of honor, including Mazi Okoro. Everyone was present. Everyone was watching. Perfect. As the sun began to set, Zara took the center stage, raised her hands for silence. The crowd quieted, expectant. Thank you all for coming, she began. I've spent these past months learning about your village, your history, your people, and I've discovered something fascinating, a story, one that I think you all need to hear. The crowd murmured with interest. Dubem's face went pale. 5 years ago, Zara continued, a young woman came to this village as a bride. She was kind, hardworking, beloved by her husband. But then strange things began to happen. A goat died. The husband fell ill. The woman lost her baby. Uncomfortable shifting in the crowd. They remembered. The village elders were consulted, and they decreed that this woman, this innocent bride, was a witch. She was subjected to a cleansing ritual. But we all know what that means, don't we? Silence, thick and heavy. Mazi Okoro stood. What are you implying? Zara turned to him. I'm not implying anything, Mazi. I'm stating facts. That woman was drugged, declared dead, and buried alive in the forbidden forest. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Nena tried to stand, but her legs gave out. No, she mumbled. No, she was guilty. We had evidence. Evidence you planted, Zara said coldly, and produced the first document. Testimony from a woman who'd been paid to lie. This woman admits you bribed her. More gasps. Nena's face went from white to red. This is lies. Who are you to accuse me? I'm getting to that, Zara said. She pulled out more documents. Nena's confession about killing the goat, poisoning Dubem, causing the miscarriage. You orchestrated everything, every single misfortune, and then you blamed an innocent woman and had her buried alive. The crowd erupted, shouts of disbelief, horror, rage. And the worst part? Zara continued. There was a prophecy, wasn't there, Nena? A diviner told you years ago that a woman from outside would bring ruin to your house. So when Kosi came, you saw a threat. But by trying to prevent it, by burying her, you created the very thing you feared. She smiled. It wasn't nice. Congratulations. You fulfilled your own prophecy. But here's what you don't know, Zara said, her voice dropping. Dangerous. That woman, Kosi, she didn't die in that grave. The crowd went silent, dead silent. Nena shook her head. Impossible. She's dead. You buried me, Zara said, and let her accent drop. Let her voice shift back. Let them hear Kosi. But I crawled out. Dube made a choking sound, fell to his knees. The crowd erupted in chaos. Zara Kosi removed her head wrap. Let them see her face. My name is Kosisochukwu, she said. 5 years ago, you let a jealous woman murder me. You held us, she pointed at Mazi Okoro. You condemned an innocent woman without proof, without mercy. Mazi Okoro stood, shaking. We thought, The evidence seemed you thought nothing, Kosi snapped. You wanted to please Nena, so you killed a woman to do it. She turned to the crowd. And all of you, you stood by, you watched. Some of you even participated. You told yourselves you were protecting the village, but you were just cowards. The crowd couldn't meet her eyes. Kosi turned to Dubem. He was still on his knees, tears streaming. Kosi, he whispered, I'm sorry. I'm so, so sorry. I loved you. You watched them bury me, Kosi said, each word a knife. You heard me screaming, begging, and you did nothing. I was weak. I was wrong. And then, Kosi continued, pulling out the letter. You went back 3 days later. You found the grave disturbed. You knew I might have survived. Dubem's face crumpled completely. The crowd gasped again. You knew, Kosi said, her voice breaking. You knew I might be alive. And you chose to let me stay dead. For money. For your
new bride. For your mother. She held up the letter. It's all here. In your own handwriting. Your confession. Your choice. Dubem sobbed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. There's nothing to say, Kosi said flatly. You're exactly what I thought you were. A coward. She turned to Nena. The old woman was shaking violently. And you, Kosi said, you took everything from me. My husband, my child, my life. Because you were jealous. Because you couldn't stand losing control. Nena's face twisted with rage and terror. You should have stayed dead. But I didn't, Kosi said. I survived. And I came back. And I've spent the last month destroying you piece by piece. She gestured to the family. Your sons hate each other now. Your wealth is gone. Your reputation is ruined. Your mind is... She smiled coldly. Not what it used to be, is it? Nena lunged at her, screaming, but her sons caught. Held her back. You did this, she shrieked. You cursed us. Just like I said, you're a witch. No, Kosi said quietly. I'm not a witch. I'm just a woman who learned to fight back. She addressed the crowd again. This family has lost everything. Their land, their money, their respect. All of it now belongs to me. I bought their debts. I bought their property. I own them. The village erupted in debate. Some called for Nena's arrest. Others defended her. Kosi watched it all with cold satisfaction. She'd done it. She'd exposed them, destroyed them, won. So why did she feel so empty? A small voice spoke from the crowd. Mama? Kosi froze, turned, and saw her, Adaura, 5 years old now, beautiful, being held by Okonkwo. Adaura, Kosi breathed. The little girl looked at her with wide, uncertain eyes. Baba Okonkwo says you're my mama, but you don't look like my mama. Kosi knelt down, tears finally coming. I am your mama, baby. I've been away, but I came back. I did all this for you, so you'd never have to be powerless like I was. You look scary, Adaura said, stepping back. You look mean. The words hit Kosi like a physical blow. She looked at her daughter, this innocent child, and saw fear in her eyes. Fear of her. Her own daughter was afraid of her. Okonkwo approached. Kosi, he said quietly, you got your revenge. You won. But what did you lose? Kosi looked around at Dubem, broken and sobbing, at Nena, mad and destroyed, at the family, shattered, at the village, ashamed, at her daughter, scared. Everything, she whispered. I lost everything. The village elders convicted Nena of murder. She was exiled, sent away to live out her remaining days alone and mad. Dubem lost his home, his family, his standing, became a drunk, wandering the village. Kosi kept all their property, all their wealth. She was the richest person in 3 regions, powerful, respected. Through fear, nobody would ever bury her alive again.
But she sat alone in the compound that used to be Dubem's, surrounded by luxury, by evidence of her victory, and felt nothing, just vast, hollow emptiness. Adaora refused to stay with her, cried when Kosi tried to hug her, clung to Okonkwo, and begged to go back. Please, Baba, I don't like her. She scares me. Kosi had to let her daughter go, had to watch Okonkwo carry Adaora away. Adais came to see her one night. Thank you, she said, for saving me, for giving me the antidote. I shouldn't have needed to, Kosi said bitterly. You were hurt, Adais said gently. What they did to you, nobody should survive that. The fact that you did, that's remarkable. Is it? Kosi laughed, but it was hollow. Look what I became. Look what I did. You made them pay, Adaisi said. Yes, but I also made myself into the thing they feared. Nena destroyed herself, trying to prevent a prophecy. And I destroyed myself fulfilling it. Kosi looked at Adais. Leave this place. Take the money I gave you and go far away. Start over. Be happy. Don't let revenge poison you like it poisoned me. Adais nodded slowly. What will you do? Kosi looked around at her empty compound. I don't know, she whispered. I got everything I wanted and lost everything that mattered. 1 month later, Kosi packed a small bag, just essentials. She left the compound, her property, her wealth, her revenge, behind. She walked through the village one last time, past the market, past the square, past the compound where she'd lived and loved and died. People watched her go, some with fear, some with pity, none with love. She stopped at the edge of the village, at the path that led to the forest, to the place where she'd been buried. She walked there one final time, stood over the grave. Someone had placed a marker. Here lies Kosisochukwu, beloved wife, murdered by those who should have loved her. Kosi touched the marker, felt the cool stone. I did what I came to do, she said to the grave, to the ghost of who she used to be. I made them pay. I destroyed them. I won. She paused. So why do I feel like I lost? No answer came. Just wind through the trees. Kosi stood there for a long time. Then she turned and walked away, into the forest, toward Okonko's compound, toward her daughter, who might someday forgive her, or might not. The woman named Kosi had died in that grave. The woman named Zera had been born from revenge. Now, walking away from both names, both lives, she was nobody. Just a woman trying to find herself again, trying to rebuild from ashes, trying to remember what it felt like to be human. Behind her, the village continued. Life went on. People forgot. But some nights, they said, you could hear crying from the forbidden forest, a woman's voice weeping. Some said it was a ghost. Others said it was just the wind. But those who'd been there that night, who'd seen Kosi's face when her daughter called her scary, they knew the truth. The crying was real, because sometimes revenge doesn't heal you. It just digs a new grave, and you bury yourself. So there you have it. Kosi got everything she wanted: justice, revenge, wealth, power. But she lost herself in the process. And that's the lesson here. Revenge may feel sweet in the moment, but it comes with a price. It can consume you until there's nothing left of who you once were. The woman who was buried was kind and full of hope. The woman who crawled out was cold and empty. Sometimes the cost of winning is losing yourself. So here's my question for you. What lesson did you take from this story? Type it in the comments below. I want to see what this tale taught you. And if this story moved you, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more African folktales. I'll see you in the next one.